Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today's tier list will be the Dragon Ball sagas, well Dragon Ball Z sagas specifically, all ranked. So as a kid I watched Dragon Ball religiously and just fell in love with it. My local mall, there's a couple of stores that sold the episodes on VHS, 3 episodes for $35. And I would buy those episodes. I would save up that lunch money I got for going to school and my allowance, and just buy 1 episode, 3 episodes a week. And I discovered these VHSs during the Future Trunks era, which is kind of perfect because my local TV channel, YTV, would just air the Frieza saga, Namek saga, and Vegeta saga, like on a loop basically. So I had already seen those three, the first act of Dragon Ball Z, multiple times, and I ended up watching all of Dragon Ball Z months before it aired. So let's just get right into it. So the Raditz saga being the first saga, it's actually only 6 episode long. It's a good opening. It's whole introduces like everything about Goku and what Goku is. It's Saiyan, of course, as we all know. And takes the biggest threat from Dragon Ball, being Piccolo, and makes him a friend. And then you also see within the actual fight long-term plans of Gohan's power and the potential of Gohan. That being said, the fight is good, but somewhat forgettable when you look at what's to come within the following sagas. And no one ever really talks about how great that Raditz fight was, right? In terms of like video games, you get kind of like you just play it, and that Raditz fight is basically a tutorial fight in countless Dragon Ball Z games. And there's quite a bit of Dragon Ball Z games, and it's always gets kind of boring fighting Raditz. So for the Raditz saga in general, I would give this a C tier. Next up is the Vegeta or Saiyan saga, and it's also like the training for Vegeta and Nappa coming up until leaving till Namek. This saga has 29 episodes, and within this saga, you see Piccolo and Gohan start developing their relationship and having that master and mentor process going. Introduction of King Kai, of course. And then when Nappa comes, you got that iconic "It's over 9,000."
What? His power level's at 7,000, 8,000. Impossible! Vegeta! What does the scouter say about his power level? It's over 9,000! What? 9,000? That can't be right!
Another thing you see is, and this kind of begins the whole trope of common theme of Goku arriving to save the day. And you'll see throughout all of Dragon Ball Z that Goku's always taken out of the equation, and then he comes and saves the day. But as for the fight with Goku itself, it's Vegeta itself, it's pretty good. One of the more iconic fights, and it really sets the groundwork to what's to come with long episode fights, great storytelling and everything. I would give this saga an A tier. So now you got the Namek saga, which includes everything about like the fake planet Namek, and then up until the Ginyu Force start fighting, but not Captain Ginyu. So the fake Namek stuff is just kind of filler. They're just one of the concepts of anime is that they're writing the episodes and airing the episodes quicker than the actual manga is being released, so they just kind of come up with stuff on the fly, and you have that entire fake Namek stuff. You have the introduction in Nail, which is probably the best Namekian fighter, and he fuses with Piccolo, but that doesn't come till later. Definitely some cool stuff. You see a lot less of Goku here. Goku had to recover from his fight from Vegeta. Then he starts flying over to Namek, and then you see the whole training at 100 times Earth gravity and everything stuff. One thing that's kind of worth mentioning with even like obviously the over 9,000 thing is just an example of it, but the Namek saga and the Frieza saga, just all about the numbers, and it gets kind of ridiculous after a while to the point where they drop it. But then you often see like, okay, well, if Frieza's power level is 1,000,000, what must Buu's power level be? And it's just, you don't really need, they eventually learn you don't need a number on everything. The Ginyu Force fight was in there also, and it's pretty cool. But there's this one episode, can't really remember if it's Goku versus Raccoon or Goku versus Birder and Jason. They're just kind of flying around him, and the entire episode is just the entire 20 minutes of just Goku standing there, and he's just basically recapping everything that's happening. 32 episodes is the Namek saga. It's a kind of long, and given the fact that like there's tons of filler both with the Ginyu Force fighting and the fake Namek, I'm giving it a C tier. The Captain Ginyu saga, there's only 7 episodes, and did this really need to be a separate saga? It's just one quick fight. I don't know why they would consider this a different saga. I guess it's just the big payoff from the Namek saga, but leads into the Frieza saga. Takes Goku out temporarily, but it didn't need to be a new saga. In terms of sagas, I would give this a D tier. Then you got the Frieza saga, and this is 33 episodes. This is where it starts like the main villain having multiple forms, where with Frieza having his first form, second form, third form, final form, and then like enhanced final form. Again, another example of Goku needing to recover while everyone else fights, and then Goku comes to save the day. But of course you had that beautiful like Krillin dying and Goku's transformation. Very iconic scene.
Every last one of you!
Krillin! No! Let him go, Frieza!
Goku! And now for the little brat.
Dare you! You're gonna pay for that!
What? Dad?
Gohan, take Piccolo with you and head back to Earth now! Hurry, Gohan! Before I lose what little sense of reason I have left!
Okay. What's
I remember in the actual episode you had Frieza destroy the planet, and then in the Funimation dub he's like, there's only 5 minutes left, but actually it's something like 9 episodes go by. And yeah, it's a little ridiculous, but the fight's good, and it's a very iconic fight also with the Super Saiyan stuff. I would say this is our first S tier. Then you have the Garlic Jr. saga. Garlic Jr. saga is kind of a weird saga. It's like a sequel to one of the movies, and the movies are always kind of weird and wonky with terms of the timeline and who's dead, who's alive. So You have Garlic Jr. return, and I always have felt this is only there to have some sense of time basically pass for the Z Fighters, given that the next villain that shows up is Frieza and his father. It would kind of make no sense. 1 second he's dead, and then the next day he's back on Earth. So they just kind of did it to have this time pass, and then I guess also for the whole, like, I'm not too sure about the manga, but maybe they just needed time to have the manga create the storylines before they were able to make the shows. Either way, it's nothing special, and I'm giving it a D tier. Now, the Trunks Saga. The Trunks Saga is just a saga I always loved. This is a little bit of a bias. This was my first time I bought the VHS, and I just love the whole mystery. You got Frieza back, and with Goku nowhere to be in sight, who can save them? And then this mysterious warrior shows up.
The Saiyan! How is this possible?
Frieza!
What?
Ha!
It turns out to be future Trunks, who is a really cool character. I really like his this character a lot, and I love this whole story arc. You have the Trunks Saga being 8 episodes, and Goku doesn't make the save for once, and it also includes all the training for the androids, and then Goku learning the drive, which is a pretty fun storyline. And yeah, I'm going to give this a B tier. Then you had the Android Saga. This is 14 episodes. This is a good tie-in to Dragon Ball with the Red Ribbon Army returning, and this is like largely one of the more important tie-ins in Dragon Ball, and it covers this entire act. You had the whole introduction with Trunks returning and finding out that androids 19 and 20 are different androids, and android 16 not even being in the timeline either. Then of course you had 17 and 18 being stronger in this timeline than the previous timeline, and it's pretty important, at least for 18 being in there. She becomes main cast in Dragon Ball Z, of course, and then even 17 in Dragon Ball Super, so they are reoccurring characters, and does go back to that theme of the enemies eventually becoming the part of the team. And you see that with the androids, you see that with Vegeta, you see that with Piccolo, and androids are no different. The saga, like, Goku gets sick here, and you have to remove him so he can make his comeback. Overall, pretty good storyline, and it has a nice the Trunks Saga really sets it up, and then by the time you get there, I'm giving this a B tier for sure. The Imperfect Cell Saga. This kind of felt random, like you didn't expect Cell like from another timeline, so now you got 3 timelines going on. You got the main timeline, you got the Trunks timeline, and you got Cell's timeline, and you didn't really you were expecting the androids to be a threat, but it's actually not the androids, it's Cell who's the big threat. And Cell's powers are pretty cool. They're basically just the power of the Z Fighters, so he knows how to do Kamehamehas and everything. Here you had Piccolo being frustrated with the growing powers of everyone from Cell to the androids, so he fuses with Kami, and this is one big, like, I think this is like the last really big Piccolo fight before they really just double down on the Saiyans and just everything is Saiyan. So this fight is pretty cool if you're a Piccolo fan. Goku awakens from his sickness within this saga, and then you have the really good Android 16 fight as Imperfect Cell is trying to prevent, is trying to absorb 17 and 18 to become a fighter, to become Perfect Cell, but 16 ends up being just an absolute powerhouse. Great fight. And then, of course, you had the intro to the hyperbolic time chamber. And then the saga ends of 17 being absorbed. And then, I'm going to give this an A tier. The Perfect Cell saga, early on, obviously, 18 is absorbed. And it's it's interesting. This, so the Imperfect Cell saga is 13 episodes, and this saga is 13 episodes. So if this is the second act of Dragon Ball Z, everything with Cell, and the first act is everything from Frieza, you have much more story arcs and sagas in general, but they're smaller sagas as opposed to like 20 episodes in the Saiyan saga and tons in the Namek and tons in the Frieza. You got small, short sagas now. And then you had, I don't know, not much to say about the Perfect Cell saga. It's a pretty cool saga, but for the most part, it's just one big fight against Perfect Cell, and then they retreat because he's just too powerful. There's one cool thing with Trunks ascending to Super Saiyan, what he thinks is 2, but it's much slower and everything like that. Overall, I'm going to give this a B tier. So, the Cell games, 29 episodes. There's a giant rumor that the Cell games was supposed to be the last saga, and it definitely kind of makes sense with Gohan taking the torch and Goku being killed off and everything. But from what I can tell, according to my research, Akira Toriyama himself never said that the Cell games was supposed to be the end. Same thing with Frieza. With that being said, there's one thing that's interesting is when they released Dragon Ball Kai, which is like a condensed version of Dragon Ball Z, almost like a director's cut, if you will. They had the first two, all the Android Frieza both arcs up until the Cell game. They were released from 2010 to 2011. And then the Buu stuff wasn't released till 2014, so maybe that was supposed to be the end. But again, there's been nothing confirmed. Anyways, let's get on to the actual Cell stuff. So, introduction to Mr. Satan, or Hercule. And like I said, you got the passing of the torch from Gohan. Gohan going Super Saiyan 2 with Android 16 dying. And then you got the beautiful father-son Kamehameha. And this is definitely S tier. You got some humor from Hercule. You got some great action. You got that great Super Saiyan ascension. And yeah, you almost don't get I think this is, for me, better than the Frieza saga, actually. The next storyline is where it kind of feels like, okay, now we need to do a soft reboot here because we're supposed to end, but we're going to keep going. It starts with the Otherworld saga, which is kind of meh. It's only 5 episodes. It's a quick tournament. Introduction to Pecan, who kind of looks like a Namek, but I don't think he is, and there's just no impact on any future events. This is just kind of here for the sake of being here. And you know what? I'm going to have to go with D tier for the Otherworld saga. Great Saiyaman saga. 10 episodes. This is now 7 years have passed or so. Well, maybe 5 or 6 years have passed. I can't remember what the exact time was, but yeah, definitely some time passed. So in the previous saga, you had Gohan passing the torch, but now it's so much for passing the torch. He kind of is nerdy and a little lame with the Great Saiyaman stuff, and he's just not his father in terms of focusing on leveling up and getting stronger. Basically to say, so much for passing the torch. And you also have the introduction of Videl, Goten, normal aged Trunks, not from the future. And so it is kind of big, and it does lay the groundwork for everything. But overall, nothing really much happens in this saga. I'm giving it a C tier. So now you got the World Tournament Saga. World Tournament Saga, you got Goku coming back for one day. And, one thing I was thinking about when I was doing this research, and I found the Reddit, and there's no common, overall thing of, how come nobody remembers Goku, Tien, Piccolo from the previous World Tournaments? And some of the answers I got were all over the place. One, the previous Cell games weren't being televised, so they didn't know who Goku is. You had the King of the Earth, whose name is King Fury, remembers Goku, and apparently the announcers do, but they don't really ever go into so much detail onto that stuff. There's some arguments on the Reddit that say it's a generational thing, but it seems to only be an 11 to 16 year gap between Goku winning and Mr. Satan winning his. And it's one of those things I feel with anime. It's just some things are better left explained. Besides the Red Ribbon Army, Dragon Ball Z mostly ignores Dragon Ball. I guess there's one argument that you can be made here is that taking a look at some of these modern TV shows like Stranger Things are introducing established huge popular rock songs and into a new audience. So maybe due to Satan taking credit for Cell, people were more interested and found their love for the world tournaments, and they never did the research. They didn't know who Goku was. But it is what it is. It's kind of a weird thing with the World Tournament Saga and the backstory and all that. A fun saga, though. Fun interactions with Mr. Satan. And then you had, of course, Babidi's henchmen, Sopowich and Yamu. Kind of never mentioned, though. They're easily forgotten about when it comes to other DBZ stuff, like games or stuff like that. These 10 episodes, I'm going to give this a C tier. Just the fun of it, like Goten seeing his dad for the first time and everything. Some fun interactions with everything, everyone flying. It's good, C tier. So, unfortunately, this tier list has the Babidi Saga and the Buu Saga combined. So, the Babidi Saga had 12 episodes, and the Buu Saga had 22 episodes. For this tier list video, I'm saying that this is 34 episodes, and then we're just going to combine them. You had the whole introduction to the whole Majin concept, and then you had Dabura and Majin Vegeta, and Majin Vegeta just going back to his old ways and his roots of just focusing on Goku needs to die, and eventually that's their fight between Goku and Vegeta is what awakens Buu. And your initial reaction of Buu is pretty funny. He's not so serious. He's not after death or anything like that, or he's not like Cell or Frieza, I guess, in his initial form. So it's kind of funny, but he eventually starts fighting, but even before he starts fighting, he kind of fosters and develops a relationship with Mr. Satan and the dog there. And then you have, they all start fighting Buu, and Vegeta versus Buu, of course, just like Vegeta at this point is even stronger than Gohan was in the Cell games, and he can't do a dent, so he just tries to blow himself up and dies. Then you had a Super Saiyan 3 introduced, and Goku using his energy, his time on Earth by going into Super Saiyan 3, thus removing Goku from the equation, so you can have him come save the day again, I guess. You also had the introduction of Gotenks in the storyline. Then, of course, the doggo getting hurt and then just sending Buu into absolute rage. So this is the two sagas here. This is where it ends. And, when I look at the two sagas combined, I would say together they're B tier for sure. Now, the Fusion Saga, this is now where you got Evil Buu being created from Majin Buu's anger about the doggo being hurt. And you have Buu versus Buu, and with Evil Buu winning, and now Buu's constantly changing forms. You had various forms of Gotenks and Mystic Gohan coming back from the, like, basically his return from the Cell games. He doesn't need to go Super Saiyan. And again, this is one of those gray areas where it's never really mentioned on when he's going Super Saiyan. I do remember hearing once that if Mystic Gohan were to go Super Saiyan, it'd be too strong and he would destroy the Earth because he's so strong. You also had the Vegito introduction here, which is a different type of fusion than the fusion dance. So you had like Buu fusing, you had Vegito with the earrings, you had Gotenks with the dance, you even had, I guess, like Gohan in a way, which is like a mini fusion. I'm giving this an A tier. The Kid Buu saga is only 12 episodes long. It's just your one last fight, Spirit Bomb, and no one's like absorbing the power, but Satan gets on board and everyone does. You know, I don't know. I know they're on a different planet and everything. I'm just going to give this a C tier. So definitely the Fusion Saga being an A tier is probably the best of the Buu Saga. Then you have the Peaceful World Saga, which is like, hey, here's another tournament. Here's a Pan introduction. And then, of course, you had Oob or whatever his name is Kid Buu reincarnated, and the conclusion is kind of weird because, like, it's one of those things in hindsight. Goku leaves to train him because he doesn't know how to fly and everything, and it's kind of weird. He's like, I'm leaving to go train with him, so he's leaving his entire family to go train with him, but he knows instant transmission. But I guess that's more of a comment on the viewers, on Goku being like, okay, goodbye everyone. And of course that's weird because now you have like Dragon Ball Super and the couple of movies that came out, which kind of make it weird. Overall, I'm saying the Peaceful World Saga is a C tier. So yeah, that's the video. What do you guys think? What do you guys agree, disagree? Let me know in the comments below, and thanks for watching.